Hello and welcome, I'm your Code Mickey. Sustainable solo dev business without hits. So we all know about the hits like Stardew Valley, hits like Minecraft, like Schedule 1, like Hollow Knight and so on. We all know about those indie game hits that are made by one or a few people and basically make $100, $200, $300 million. These are insane hits, and actually everybody wishes they could have a hit like that. But in my view, that is kind of like wishing to win the lottery, which I don't really think is a, let's say, viable plan if you want to do this for the long run. So instead of focusing on mega hits, I'm a big fan of the word sustainable, meaning something that is actually achievable by a reasonable person. You won't be a billionaire, but you'll be able to keep doing this for the long run and make a living from it. And if you're already on the intermediate level and you want to take your skills to the next level, then check out my problem solving course. This one is focused on teaching you the most valuable skill of all. It's a very practical course with all kinds of exercises that you can do in order to gain tons of experience so you can gain this knowledge. This one also has a free version over here on YouTube and a premium version containing all the over 200 problems for you to solve in order to gain this really valuable skill. Check out all my free courses with the link in the description. However, like I wrote here, so making a living from publishing indie games is a very tough business. It is an industry where 95% of games don't even make $100. Now, secondly, this one is slightly exaggerating. Thankfully, it's not as bad as 95 don't make $100. But if you look at the stats over here on Gamalytic, we can see over here under the indie genre tab, over here the revenue distribution, so about 55% of games, more than half of games, make less than $1,000. And of course, great majority of those will definitely be under $100. Then a bunch more make between 1 to 5k, a bunch between 5 to 10k, so really just this sliver makes at least 10k with each game. In reality, if you want to make as a living, and if you're making games in, let's say, about 6 months, if so, then you probably want to get something like 50k at least out of that game. So in theory, the rate of success is more something like these three bars combined. So 5.7, 3.7, 2.5, so basically about 10% find success, and about 90% don't really find success. Again, whenever I talk about success, I always gotta make the caveat, you can make games just for fun, just as a hobby, that's perfectly fine. It's really up to you to define what does success mean to you. In this case, since I'm talking in the context of money, over here I'm talking about in the context of actually making games for a living as your primary job. In which case, yes, money is going to be the success factor. And looking at this graph, we can see, yep, just how difficult it is to make a living making games. So like I wrote here, so if you do want this to be your job, you need to be very skilled, very knowledgeable, and very dedicated. Now, one developer started an interesting discussion about this topic on Reddit. How can you create a sustainable game dev business as a solo dev without ever making a hit game? So this is really the crucial part, the without a hit game. Because like I was saying, yeah, making something like Stardew Valley or Schedule 1 would be awesome if it does happen, but that's basically like wishing to win the lottery, so I don't really think that's a plan. Over here, this thread is very interesting, and there's actually a bunch of different answers as to how you can make this sustainable, without relying on having a ton of luck and getting a massive hit. Like I said, so this word over here, sustainable, this is an extremely important word for me. I do want to make games for the long run, so I'm very, very interested in finding out how can I do this, basically without relying on massive luck about basically winning the lottery. How can I do it in a more reasonable way, in a way that I can actually be done, and then in a way that is mostly based on my own skills and not really relying on luck too much. So like I wrote here, so personally I can very much relate to this topic because this has been my story. I started making games in 2013 and I made a living from nothing but indie game dev for several years. I only started making money from my YouTube channel in 2020. So yeah, basically between 2013 and 2020, I was making a living solely from making my games and nothing else. So I was able to achieve the very difficult goal, like I said, of making a living, which only 5-10% of indie devs actually achieve. I was able to achieve that for 7 years. And all that time, I've never really had what you would call a hit. I actually covered my game dev journey in this video. So yeah, that's this video over here where I basically talked about my journey making over 40 games, how I started making Flash games and moved on to Steam and did a ton of stuff on a ton of different genres. I have had some games that did quite well, like for example, Game Corp DX. I think this was my most successful game of all time, so it has 1,700 reviews, definitely quite a lot. I believe in total, this game made me about 250k, so definitely a very successful game. But on the other hand, I've also had some games that flopped hard. As you do in lots of games, that is definitely going to be the natural way of things. You can't really just expect to have hit after hit. So for me, in the 9 Steam games that I published on Steam, some have been hits, some have been massive flops, and some have been pre-middle. Thankfully, putting them all together, on average, they did quite well. Like I said, so throughout all that, I kept surviving with a sustainable indie dev business. One excellent, very famous song on exactly this topic is one from 2016. It is by Jake Burkett, titled How to Survive in Game Dev for 11 Years Without a Hit. This is a really excellent song. I really enjoyed watching this song. I'm pretty sure I've seen it like 2 or 3 times. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, it's a topic that is very dear to me because this is exactly what I want to do. I don't want to rely on having a massive hit. I really just want a nice, sustainable way of making indie games and surviving basically for the long run. So if you have not seen it yet, I highly recommend you give it a watch if you're interested in the topic of sustainable indie game development. And discussion on that Reddit thread is very interesting. Someone suggests how contract work is basically the easiest way to achieve sustainability. That way you basically have guaranteed income by basically becoming a freelancer, where the hard part is actually finding clients. And yep, this is definitely a perfectly valid way of doing game dev. Obviously, everyone wishes, everyone dreams of working on their own games, making a living making their own games. And that can be basically your dream, that can be basically your final goal. But on the way, as you are going towards that goal, if you want to do it without basically risking becoming homeless, then contract work can definitely be the easiest way to achieve this kind of sustainability. It is still difficult because you still have to find clients, but as long as you find those clients, they won't pay you X amount to do X amount of work, and at least then you know, at least then you do have some sustainability. You have some stability, you know what to expect. As long as you do this work, you get this X amount. And then of course, in your off days, you can basically work on your games. So that allows you to basically pay the bills as you're working on something, and then hopefully you publish your own game, and hopefully that one actually yields some results. And then maybe on the next game, maybe you don't need to do contract work and you can just work on your game. Another dev suggests finding a niche genre and building one good quality game per year. This is another very interesting strategy, specifically focusing on one niche genre. There are quite a lot of genres and quite a lot of subgenres, so if you can find one subgenre that actually has a, let's say, decently sized audience, but that audience isn't being served by anything. Like for example, Stardew Valley, part of the reason why it finds so much success was exactly because of that. There was a giant audience that really loved those Harvest Moon games, but they basically stopped making those games. So then one developer really wanted those, so they basically started making those, and they realized, okay, in this sub-niche genre, there's actually quite a lot of audience, quite a lot of people that do want to play this. So in this case, the developer focused on that sub-niche genre and managed to find quite a bit of success. So analyze your own tastes, analyze the games that you liked playing when you were a kid, and perhaps some of those games, some of those genres, perhaps they are not being made quite as much nowadays, so perhaps you can make something in that very niche audience, and if you do, you will find the audience that might be relatively small, might not be a mass market audience, but if they are really hungry for games in that genre, it might be easy to sell some copies to that audience. And of course, also, I believe this is a great strategy because it allows you to carry your audience from game to game, while also boosting your own skills since you're always working on the same genre. This is a great benefit of that strategy of focusing on just one genre and just doing that over and over again, which is how you yourself, you get better because you're constantly working on the same genre. And every genre is obviously going to have some common problems, so once you solve those problems on game number 1, then when you go onto game number 2, still on the same genre, you'll be able to basically reuse a ton of systems and become quite a bit more effective. Like I wrote here, Jeff Vogel is an example of exactly this, and there's another great talk. Here's the talk, so it's called Failing to Fail, the Spiderweb Software Way. And yep, Jeff Vogel is by Spiderweb Software. He basically makes some very old school, very niche, very specific RPGs, and he has been doing that for literally over 20 years. And throughout all the time, he has become insanely efficient at being able to make this specific type of game. And at the same time, he has found an audience that is a very niche-sized audience, but still it's an audience that loves that specific type of game. So anytime he puts out a new game, he can contact that audience, and since they enjoyed those games, they will probably enjoy the new ones. Or perhaps just remember how indie dev doesn't technically mean just making games. You can make a sustainable business as an asset developer, making either visual assets or tools for other developers to use. That is also a viable career path. Yep, this is another option that a lot of people don't actually consider, don't actually realize that it is an option. The asset store is obviously massive. You can find tools and assets for doing literally anything you want to make. Famously, of course, you've got asset publishers kind of like Synthi Studios. They've been building a ton of packs for literally over a decade at this point, I'm pretty sure. They've got literally hundreds of packs. And this is what they do, this is their business. I'm pretty sure this is a multi-million-dollar business, it's actually a pretty big company. And this is what they do, they make a ton of assets for other developers to use. They don't make games themselves, they just focus on making assets and supporting developers. So just be aware how this is indeed a viable path. In general, my best tip on this topic is quite simple. The biggest multiplier on difficulty is your own cost of living. Again, going back to the keyword sustainability, that is basically how much money you have coming in and how much money you have coming out. And hopefully you're working super hard to try to get more money come in, but sometimes can it actually be easier to really just reduce your cost. Like I wrote here, so for me, I was able to run a sustainable business because I live in Portugal, where I can have a pretty good life with about $2,000 per month. And that amount, which means that a game only needs a relatively small amount to turn a profit. So if I work on a game for 6 months, then technically in order to make a profit, I really just need to make about 12 grand out of that game. And going back to that chart in the beginning, 12 grand would be, let's say, yeah, pretty much basically about this. So instead of only having 10% chance of finding success, I have 20-25% chances. Definitely increased by quite a bit. Whereas on some places like San Francisco, that amount would not even cover rent. If you live in some very expensive place, it can take something like 10K just to live a basic life. And if it costs you 10K per month just to survive, and if you make a game in 6 months, then your game needs to sell at least 60,000 in order to make a profit. Whereas me, living here in Portugal, I really just need 12K for the exact same game with the exact same time frame to find success. So if you can live cheaper, then this sustainable indie dev business challenge becomes quite a lot easier. This is obviously something that is not necessarily too easy to change. Moving completely from one place to the next is probably not an easy choice, but just be aware that is a choice. And even if you can't do that, such a drastic thing about moving completely, maybe you can just look at your own costs, at the things that you spend money on a monthly basis, and if you can cut some of those things, that helps you achieve this goal of finding sustainable in that business, make it quite a bit more easy. Now, I really relate to this topic because survivability has always been something I found to be insanely important. I want to be able to keep doing this basically for the rest of my life, so sustainability matters a lot to me. I talked about how I survived for over a decade in this video. And if this is a very interesting video that I made about 2 years ago, I guess, and it's titled How to Survive as a Game Dev for Over a Decade, Over $1 million in Revenue. And yep, none of my games have been massive hits. I've never had a game kind of like Stardew Valley, kind of like Schedule 1, kind of like Balatro. Nope, none of that. And yet, I've been able to make a living and actually have a pretty nice living, thanks to being both smart with my costs, thanks to having a low cost of living, and thanks to selecting some good game ideas. I've managed to have some hits, some flops, and in the end, everything balances out and I was able to actually make a living for quite a long time. Again, all of this that I'm talking about, all of this happened before I started making money on YouTube, so nothing of what I'm talking about has to do with anything to this channel. This $1 million in gross revenue, this one happened before YouTube. If you, like me, really value sustainability, then I highly recommend you go watch those talks. That is a very important topic. If you focus on this word as much as possible, hopefully you can actually achieve it and you can make a living from indie games and continue doing this for many years in the future. Get the latest game dev insights to help indie devs succeed. Check out my free game dev report. This is what I write every single week with the latest game dev news and any interesting articles that I come across every single week. There's a new issue published every Sunday. You can sign up for free, so check it out through the link in the description. Alright, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.